Tom here, FlipAnything USA. Just gonna have a little micro lesson here real quick. It's almost 7 o'clock and I'm meeting prospective tenants for one of my commercial rentals. You guys may remember I had a video a while back. I had a you know what? Let me see something here. Okay, good deal. I had some tenants a while back. The massage parlor, been a good tenant for a long time. They got panicked because there was a big issue. There was another massage parlor that got shut down in the same county. They found about, I don't know, hundreds of condoms that had plugged up a sewer line, and it caused concern for the tenant that I had, and he ended up leaving without notice. So I'm a big fan of massage. I go to a really nice place, and they have a couple of stores. And so I told them the situation. I said, hey, I got a place, turnkey, ready to go. You know, you can move right in, maybe just change the paint color, and it'll be ready to go for you. And so they were interested, and so they came out, and I saw them about a week or two ago, and they'd be a real asset to the place too. And so I decided that I would, you know, try to get them in, and I've been real patient with them, and you know, not rushing them at all, and because I know they will ultimately be an asset. And sure enough, they said they're going to take the place, and so I'm coming from there. But it made me realize, you know, when you're leasing a place, you don't always want to take. I mean, people come to you and they say, oh, you know, sometimes the tenants feel like they got all the power. Like, yeah, hey, all right, now I'll give you cash. You know, it's like, hey, wait a minute. I want to make sure you're a quality tenant first. And so you always want to scrutinize your tenants, make sure that they're a good fit for the property, make sure they're not going to take more parking than they should. And that's also one of the assets, or one of the reasons I consider these folks an asset, is that massage parlor takes very little parking. So to me, that's a plus, because I have a very popular restaurant, very popular bar in this property. And so when I bought this property, it was already I was already making about, I don't know, 7.5%, 8%, you know, cap rate when I bought the property, but that was with a 30% vacancy. And so now, of course, I filled that up, and I had to use tenants that were low parking demand because of the other parking tenants. The other tenants that I have are kind of high parking requirement. And so anyways, it worked out well. Like I said, I've got these folks signed. I did have a clothing store that reduced back in size a little bit, so I do have one more small space. But you know, you can't be idle about your vacancies. You always want to fill them as fast as you can. And you know, sometimes I fail that. Sometimes I'm a little bit lazy, and I don't get them filled as quick as I can. But boy, does it add up. You know, even if it's just a $1,500 a month space, you know, that's $1,800 a year. 6 months go by, you lost $9,000. You know, you do that with 3 or 4 units, and maybe some of them are bigger and smaller than that. You know, you can see $100,000 in rent, you know, evaporate. You know, I'm pretty happy. I mean, I always like it when I'm 100% full, because I got a lot of property, but I'm not terribly upset with a 5% vacancy rate, which I have probably less than that right now. Well, certainly today I do. Well, I don't know how much it changed by, but anyways, it's an acceptable rate. But I'm showing I got a bad connection here. I just wanted to share that with you. Just you know, I try to use it as a teachable moment. You know, you be very selective in your tenants. You really want good tenants. You pick them right, and you know, they're picking you too. You both have a choice, but at the same time, neither one has all the power, but you certainly can decide who you want to rent to when it comes to commercial properties, because we're talking about for reasons like if they're going to take too much parking, or if they have a business that's going to be disruptive to another tenant. And so you have all those things to consider, but being selective, sometimes it's tough because you're anxious, you want the money, but the patience will pay off, and it'll serve you well. So hey, I'm going to call it a night now. I just wanted to slip that in. I think I did a decent little video the other day, a whiteboard video, the one before this. I think it was one before this. Yeah, if you get a chance, please take a look at that. There's some good information in there. And